We land upon disputes just because things are placed, constrained and dubious in front of us. Article 370 is not so dubious, it is not so complicated as it has been made. If I will come to the legal implications of the article later on. I would like to locate the problem, the political dimensions of the Kashmir problem in social context. And this is not the problem of India. This is a problem of whole of the world. Most of the states are diverse in nature, and their diversity asserts differently as per the strengths of the diverse groups. Where diverse groups are powerful, they are having resources, their assertion is more. Where they are enfeebled and weak, their assertion is less. And in the case of Kashmir, Article 370 had become a live wire for a community that was getting strengthened with the elements of power and resources. I recall the one quotation of some French parliamentarian in one of the famous volumes, students of nation building and nationalism must have gone through that volume, From Empire to Nation, of Robert Emerson. The French parliamentarian says that if people are given the right to self-determination, every state, every district, every block, every village, every farmstead will declare itself independent. There is no restraint to freedom. A rational adjustment and coordination is required. And this is how the states are grappled with the issue of state building and nation building. In a diverse society, we went for semi-federal structure. There was lots of thinking behind it. We could have opted for federal structure of the United States. We could have transferred, devolved more powers to states. But see the scenario even today. In quasi-federal structure, half federation, states have turned against Indian state. Our units have turned against Indian state, even after getting all the best they could have. Kashmir is the best example. They were having everything what a state in the United States was having. Now before I come to these legalities, in which my memory would definitely deceive me. I did PhD on Kashmir in 94. So I was looking for my book today, whatever I could go through and present in front of you, but the time was insufficient. Still, whatever is there live in the memory, I will share with you. First, I will take the chunk of history, how we start in research also. This is Research Scholars Association. Any problem is to be sought, and its roots are to be detected in history. Kashmir, there are many versions of its interpretation. The most genuine version, the Sanskritic Kashmir is home to Sanskrit, and Kashmiri language has so many Sanskritic words, we don't need to explain the originality of Sanskritic for the dominance in Kashmir region in the early past. Kashmir refers to a desiccated land. A desiccated means an arid, a dried up, a water dried up land. You can imagine the splintered image of a dried land when drought is there after water. So that was the state of Kashmir Valley. In Sanskrit, Ka refers to water and Shamir refers to dried up land. Another version goes in mythology. We have the bad habit of turning down our mythology because our great sages didn't put down the historical notes or the research notes just like we people do today, just to identify the source. Because they were beyond recognition, they didn't need recognition. A genuine disperser of knowledge doesn't need recognition. Knowledge is knowledge, it is always shared. It is not copyrighted. Rishi Kashyap, it is believed, some people say that the name of Kashmir was devised from Kashyap itself. Kashmir was, the valley was basically a lake twice the width and 3 times the length of Geneva Lake. If you haven't been there, try to Google it, how big this Geneva Lake is. And the big gorge of Baramulla, from where the Jhelum escapes now, was blocked at the time. And a story carries that Rishi Kashyap made that gorge dug up from people, and the water of the lake was drained out to make it inhabitable, and then initially Brahmins were habitated in Kashmir Valley. Thus starts the story of Kashmiri Pandits. This is one version. In history, Kashmir goes parallel to Indian history. We have references up to 2500 years BC. The written records of Indian history don't go beyond. It goes parallel. In fact, the sources of Indian mythology, the sources of Indian literature, the sources of Indian classical works rely on Kashmir a lot. Throughout the history, it primarily remained a region dominated by Hindus, followed by Buddhism. Kanishka and Mauryan Empire also expanded up to Kashmir. Tartars were there. And then ultimately, the Muslim incursions and the first genuine Muslim regime that was established by Rinchen Shah in 1323, a Buddhist who for personal benefits adopted Islam just to become king. And then his wife, Kotarani, after 3 years she died. His wife Kotarani ruled for 10-15 years. She was the last Hindu ruler of the valley, of the Kashmir. I won't call it valley. In between there are references of certain kings whom we pay least attention. Actually, we have been taught the history of Mughals, the history of British, the history of Sultanate period, the history of Das dynasty, nothing more. Nothing has gone beyond it. Things have been seen from single kaleidoscope. The Gangana's empire was as vast as that of Akbar. His empire was spread up to Persia. His empire was spread up to Malwa. His empire was spread up to Multan and Pakistan. The so-called Pakistan today, this entity is quite late in origin. He was a great builder, just like he's called Shah Jahan of Kashmir. He was a king in whose time art and literature flourished a lot in Kashmir. But then, as Shah Mir happened to be the first Muslim ruler, somewhere around 1390, I told you that my memory may deceive me. You can Google the dates. My dates may not be confirmed. I want to refer to this king, Sikandar the Iconoclast, who followed Shah Mir in Kashmir. He ruled from 1389 to 1415. This period of 25 years of his governance was the worst in Kashmir's history. The whole valley, populated by Kashmiri Pandits, and rest of the smaller communities, was forced. They were given three options: either to die or to adopt Islam or to be exiled. They have to opt the exiling as the option. And most of the people did that. It is on records that only 11 families were left there of Kashmiri Pandits in Valley. Those families were called Mamlas. And those who returned to Valley after the death of this king, when the atrocities of this king diluted, they were called Benamas. They lost their name, actual name. So this identity of two streams within the Pandit community still exists in Kashmir. I refer to this event that it was irrational, a well thought out, cold-blooded action of a particular community to exclude a particular community from Valley. The same thing was repeated, the same theory was repeated at the instance of Pakistan in 1989, when Pandits were given three options: adopt Islam, drop the ladies and women folk in Valley, or leave Valley. Twenties of Kashmiri Pandits were killed. They were terrorized. The same theory was repeated in 1989. And they succeeded. 2.5 lakh Kashmiri Pandits were displaced from Valley. I wonder the small instances of, I won't say small, in democratic state, even a single instance is worth noting and worth criticism. The small instances of communal activities, lynchings, mob killings, which are non-communal in nature. You must have heard mob killing goes, they go for killing of those who are thieves, who are stealing small children, and different kinds of killings are taking place. But then their intentions, they should be clubbed communally. That thinking is defective because it was silent at the time of the displacement, the biggest displacement in modern Indian history. See in India, a Hindu majority state, Hindus are being displaced by a minority. I don't want to be communal in my statements. I am as secular as the other people. But this is the tragedy with this state. There was a discussion last few years over what should be the status of a community. Should it be considered on national statistics? See what is happening in Valley, see what is happening in Meerut, see what is happening in Hyderabad, see what is happening in Aligarh. These are Muslim majority districts. If you take the statistics, then the graph of atrocity takes a huge shift. Should the argument of minority be shifted from national to state level? But if you will go for that, the national credentials are compromised. There are so many things in between. I have enough time, I think. Now I would come to Akbar reached in Kashmir in 1585, and he made Kashmir part of the Suba of Kabul, followed by his successors. We all know that Akbar said that स्वर्ग अगर कहीं है तो यहीं है, यहीं है. Whatever in Urdu, that is, I don't recall the word, the couplet. Ami asto, ami asto, ami asto. This was followed by the huge, glorious period of Shah Jahan, Jahangir, who got chinar trees planted, lots of gardens, and Kashmir was made a kind of heaven for tourists. It was livable at that time because those previous years communal feelings were on the reduction and there was huge transformation. There was transformation, community transformation from one community to another. Another important year which I would like to present in front of you is 1846. In fact, we all say that how come Muslim majority Kashmir, Hindu majority Jammu, Buddhist majority Ladakh, how come they have been put together into one political unit? In 1846, Raja Ranjit Singh, the great Sikh ruler, he died in 1839 and his empire fell like a house of cards, just like the empire of Aurangzeb did. His successors didn't survive for 6 months, 1 year, and ultimately it was his wife who fought the 1845-46 Anglo-Sikh War. Ranjit Singh is important in Indian history because he was a major deterrent to the expansion of British rule in North India and the advent of Afghans and Turks from the west. His empire was again a great one. He ruled most of the Punjabi, Pakistani area, Pakistani territory. His rule was expanded up to Gujarat and quite a lot territory of North India. But then his successors were weaklings. They were defeated in 1846 from British. And British demanded the war indemnity of 175 lakh. They were unable to pay. One Gulab Singh, a Togri prince from Jammu, was serving with Ranjit Singh as a small governor. He mediated the things. He was clever enough to mediate the things in his own way. I'm afraid Jammuites may differ from me because Gulab Singh is worshipped like a god in Jammu. I went to Raghunath temple a few years back. His idol is placed there. He was the first Dogra ruler of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir. Gulab Singh mediated between British and Sikhs. And he mediated the amount of 175. He knew that Sikhs are not in position to pay that. They would have to sacrifice the territory. Then the territory between river Beas and river Sindh, I think, river Sindh or Chenab, it was selected in lieu of that 175 lakh. And Gulab Singh was clever enough to reserve that, to own that at the payment of 75 lakh. He made the payment of 75 lakh and one became the owner of all of the territory. In law books it is argued that is it possible that when you purchase a territory, such a big territory, the people inhabiting that territory also become your slaves, also become your subjects. The people of Jammu, the people of Ladakh and the people of Kashmir become your subjects. Then again, as per international law, there are provisions that several territorial deeds have been executed internationally by different states where territories have been purchased with the population itself. So this was the accident of Kashmir history, that Kashmir what was Kashmir became Jammu and Kashmir, and it included the territories of Jammu, Valley and Ladakh. Gulab Singh has one more credential to his credit, that he had a great journal, Joravar Singh. How many people from Hamirpur are here? How many people from Hamirpur? I'm not going to ask any question. This is a simple query. You should know about this man. Joravar Singh was from Dhaneta. He was such a daring and bold and adventurous person. He was serving with the army of Ranjit Singh and had a scuffle with 6 soldiers on account of smoking. We know that Sikhs don't smoke, and he was habitual of that. And he killed 5 to 6, 7, 6 soldiers he killed and ran away, came to Hamirpur, escaping all the forces of Ranjit Singh. And when Gulab Singh became king of Jammu and Kashmir, he ordered his soldiers that I want this man. He is such a daring man, I want to make him commander of my forces. And he was taken from Hamirpur, Dhaneta, to Jammu. He was made commander-in-chief of Gulab Singh. And as was his name, for the first time in Indian history, Tibet was invaded by Joravar Singh. He expanded the territory of Jammu and Ladakh to Tibet to Baltistan, Skardu. For the first time in Indian history, we expanded northward. Now I would, since I have taken lots of time, I would come to the exact Article 370 and Article 35A, but how these articles and provisions got founded or formulated in the Indian Constitution, little bit light I would throw. Article 35A that allows the state of Jammu and Kashmir, the government and its assembly to legislate, to establish the nomenclature who constitutes the state subject, who constitutes the citizen of Jammu and Kashmir. That authorization resembles the one executed by Raja Harish Singh in 1927. Raja Gulab Singh was followed by Ranjit Singh. Ranjit Singh was followed by his son Raja Pratap Singh. From 1885 to 1925 he ruled over there. This period was quite critical and significant in Jammu's history, Jammu Kashmir's history. That since illiteracy rate was too much in Jammu and Kashmir, people were recruited from Punjab who were literate for the collection of revenue, for the administrative posts. They were posted in Kashmir and Jammu, with which the people of Kashmir, Muslims, they were antagonized against the Dogra rule. They were unhappy. There was a slogan, state for the statespeople. State for the statespeople means, let us be clear who are people from Jammu and Kashmir. But Raja Pratap Singh didn't deal with it. His son, as soon as he rose to power, Raja Harish Singh in 1927, he legislated over that. He said that people who were settling in state of Jammu and Kashmir before 1846, when my grandfather purchased the territory from Raja Ranjit Singh, they would be considered as the citizens of Jammu and Kashmir. But then there were protests, so many settlements after that. Then this date was replaced. This date was substituted by another date. It was 1885, when the Indian National Congress was formed. The people who settled in Jammu and Kashmir before 1885 will be considered the subjects of Jammu and Kashmir, citizens of Jammu and Kashmir. The same thing was repeated in 1954 when your Article 35 through a presidential order was inserted in the Constitution, and it was made, it was given up to State Assembly that you go for the decision whoever constitutes the state subject. They decided that people in 1944, that people who are living in Kashmir for the last 10 years will be considered as state subjects. Last 10 years means since 1944. Those people who were living in Jammu and Kashmir before last 10 years, before 1944. What about the poor refugees who migrated from Pakistan after the common violence of partition, who settled in Jammu and Kashmir? They haven't still received the full citizenship rights. That community was still languishing in Kashmir. What about this community? The state was so much unconcerned, so much, what I would say, discriminatory about a particular community. Again, then Sheikh Abdullah, as he did, and his son Farooq Abdullah, they introduced the Resettlement Act in 1989, somewhere. My date may be wrong. I told you my memory deceives me about it. You can confirm it. Resettlement Act was introduced by Sheikh Abdullah, followed by his son Farooq Abdullah. It was passed by Jammu and Kashmir Legislative Assembly that allowed that people who shifted to Pakistan at the time of partition can be rehabilitated in Kashmir, see the height. People who migrated from Pakistan to India want to consider the citizen of Jammu and Kashmir. People who migrated from India to Pakistan can be rehabilitated in Kashmir. This was the legislation. It was never implemented because it didn't get the assent of the authorities concerned. And some mischief again happened quite late when about 16,000 Rohingyas were settled in Jammu and Ladakh. I don't know who are the authorities responsible. A state that is suffering from community proportions, where communities have been engineered, where communities have been thrown out for the establishment, for the dominance of a particular community. Muslim Rohingyas were settled. We had no place in India to settle them except Jammu and Kashmir. This was strange. As per the statistics of Jammu and Kashmir government, about 17,000 Rohingyas have been settled in Jammu and Ladakh. Statistics may vary, but this is around 17,000 I came across. In 1931, after the state subjects were declared by Raja Harish Singh, Sheikh Abdullah was an MSc from Aligarh Muslim University and junior teacher in a high school in Kashmir, Srinagar. He was member of a reading room party. So many things happen at AMU. Since then, he clamored against Raja Harish Singh. And for the first time in the history of Kashmir Valley, Kashmiris are peace-loving people. Communal violence took place. Hindu shops and houses were ravaged, looted, and 3 Hindus were killed. This was the first instance in history of Kashmir when Hindus were, after the atrocities of Skandar, the iconoclast in modern history. In 20th century, this happened. He was a member of a reading room party that was converted in 1932 into All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference. See what has happened. Article is not important. The historical narrative that has taken place, the things which have been placed in front of us, the things which have been hidden from us, the things which have been kept in dark are more important. They have to be highlighted, as the sources tell us. People may argue over sources. All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference was established in 1932. Reading room was converted into All Muslim League, All Jammu and Kashmir Muslim League Party. But since the nomenclature was Muslim friendly, community specific, in association with Jawaharlal Nehru, Sheikh was influenced. He changed the nomenclature into All Jammu and Kashmir National Conference in 1938. In 1940, he sloganeered against Raja Harish Singh that we are being discriminated, the people of Valley are being discriminated. Expand the number of your Praja Sabha. Praja Sabha was the Council of State of Raja Harish Singh. from 35 to 40 something around. That number was increased from 35 to 40 and Valley was given more representation and JKNC, Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, people were inducted into it. Then the struggle against Raja started. The struggle was just and genuine at some cost because Dogris were owning so much land and they were landowners and there was discrimination on account of distribution, for which Sheikh Abdullah went for huge land reforms in 1949, 1950. For that, he will always be remembered in Jammu and Kashmir. But then another person, Ghulam Abbas, he was a Punjabi Muslim from Jammu. He was close to Jinnah. He was suffocated by the politics of Sheikh and Nehru. He revived Jammu and Kashmir Muslim Conference in 1941. I won't allow it die down for the cause of Muslims. I will keep it alive. Both the organizations, JKNC and JKMC, started colliding with the Dogra Empire of Harish Singh, and the struggle for rights, for restructuring, for restructuring of the administration of Dogra rule was on. In between comes our Independence Day, 15th August, and our Independence Act that was passed that provided for the lapse of permanency, British permanency, and the liberation of 562 Indian princely states who were free to join either India or Pakistan, or they could have remained independent. But there was direction that when you opt to join either of the option, you have to keep in mind the demographic composition, community population, and the geographical contiguity. You should be geographically attached with the option, either Pakistan or India. And what happened with Hyderabad, they were not having a geographical link either with India or Pakistan. They opted for independence. But it was a Hindu majority state. It had to be occupied. There was revolt. There were atrocities of Rajkara, of Nizam. The same thing happened with Junagadh. I won't go into this history. I have taken lots of time. The plebiscite was also conducted on 20th of February 1948. And it went in India so because it was a Hindu majority state. About 80% of the population was Hindu. The problem remained with Kashmir. It was broadly equipoised on common grounds, 55-60% Muslims, 40-45% Hindus. And a great game took place in respect of Kashmir. Raja Harish Singh, he was Hindu king, it was a Muslim majority state. He opted to remain independent. But then, before signing the instrument of accession, it was signed later on. He signed a standstill agreement proposed a standstill agreement with Pakistan and India. Standstill agreement had the provision that the communication and the transportation services will be kept alive with Kashmir until the final settlement. So Pakistan accepted it. India didn't. India invited Raja Harish Singh for talks. Then, Pakistan gradually started pressurizing. Jinnah somewhere said that Kashmir is just like a ripe apple, it will fall into my lap only. It can't go away from me. It will definitely fall into my lap because Muslim majority state. But Kashmir is that tribe denied the two-nation theory of Jinnah, and Sheikh Abdullah was the prime actor behind this. This has to be recognized. History tells the truth. Whatever went wrong later on, I will highlight that. Pakistan invaded Kashmir, tribal attack took place. Raja was in Srinagar, Harish Singh. He ran to Jammu. And on 26th of October, he signed instrument of accession. And on 27th of October, it was accepted by Mountbatten. And लेकिन बड़ा जरूरी है, फिर मेरे को नहीं मिलना ऐसा टाइम मैं बहुत जल्दी कर रहा हूँ. The instrument of accession that is debated time and again. I tell you that it was the same instrument of accession signed by 560 Indian princes that Harish Singh signed. It was not much different. The same provisions, all princes forfeited on military defense, communication and foreign affairs. Then we had the plan. We gave the states, princely states, the opportunity. You constitute your own constituent assemblies. Make your own constitutions, just like Kashmir did. Travancore and Cochin and few 3-4 states, they constituted constituent assembly. They were framing their own constitutions. But then a new meeting held in 1948, they forfeited that, see, this is all Ramabaji, we are going to assimilate completely with India, we are going to accept Indian constitution. This happened. But Raja stuck up with his position, I was for independence, I won't forfeit anything beyond these 3 subjects. And on his insistence, and on the insistence of Nehru, on the insistence of N. Iyengar, he was made a scapegoat. The Article 306A was introduced in the Indian Constitution by Constituent Assembly. It was later on replaced by Article 370 when the Constitution was finalized. This is how about Article 370 unnecessarily introduced. It was opposed in Constituent Assembly even by B.R. Ambedkar, even by Sardar Patel. It was opposed that something is going beyond our control. If he has signed instrument of accession in favor of India out of fear, why should we take all the liability? We will keep only 3 affairs, rest for them. In time of external aggression, Indian government should use its forces. We should get our soldiers killed and rest of them to be enjoyed to the people of Kashmir. This was the demand of rest of the states. And Anbusar resolution, Rajamana resolution, so many resolutions in India when people demanded we want autonomy at parity with Jammu and Kashmir. This singular instance had discriminated rest of the 27 states in India. So this is how Article 370 was introduced, and I would wind up with some important points that the current government dared to do it. It was not impossible. Nothing is impossible for the Indian Parliament to do. Just like an old saying about British Parliament of Trilum that they can't change the sex of person, rest can be done. But even that is possible now. This statement was given 200 years back. Nothing is impossible. Parliament is the institution that goes for the formulation of laws, and it works on the dictates and mandates of people. Nothing is above people. There is one of my students was discussing Rohit basic structure is engaged in it. I was looking for it. What it constitutes the basic structure? The basic structure of Indian Constitution. It constitutes of the nature of government, the supremacy of the Constitution, the fundamental rights, the structure of the government. We already had 7 union territories. India is fully authorized to diminish the status of a state into union territory if it goes against the interest of nation. India is fully authorized to raise the status of a union territory to full statehood if it suits the development concern of the people. So government on 5th and 6th of August, 2 resolutions were passed. The first Article 370 was used to abrogate Article 370. Article 370 has not actually been abrogated. The term abrogated is used in Hindi, जिसको बोल सकते हैं भंग कर दिया या रद्द कर दिया. Article 370 still stands there, but the whole debate in India has loomed in the continuum between abrogation and non-abrogation. Abrogation of Article 370, this was the voice of Praja persons in Jammu, this was the cause for which Shyama Prasad Mukherjee died, this was the cause for which a particular movement has been there since 1950. Since the day Article 370 was inserted, the anti-voice was lying there since the insertion, since the genesis of the article. That's why I placed this word. Certain provision, Article 370 and the 1954 order has been abrogated. 54 order, and the consequent orders in reference to that order, which number around 60, 70, they have been nullified, and Article 35 automatically, it was part of 1954 order, it has been nullified. There will be hue and cry for some time, but there was no peace even before. I was in Ladakh for some research work on my project in 2010. We were coming through Kashmir Valley, and 4 persons in Innova car. It was snow pelted. हमारे लिए तो स्क्रीन चार्ज लगी. I was just thinking